and we will go ahead and get started. First, I want to thank our sponsors. We got Illinois State University, Central Illinois Regional Airport, WGLT, Serban, Cumulus Radio Group, 107.7 The Bull, Cities 92.9, and Magic 99.5. I do want to thank everybody for coming out. I think this is our biggest turnout since the pandemic. This keeps getting bigger. It seems like every time we do one, it's about 10 or 20 more. So a good group, and we'll keep moving this around. If you don't know me already, my name is Patrick Hoban. I am the CEO of the Bloomington-Normal Economic Development Council. And at the end of this month, it'll actually be my 3-year anniversary, which is really hard to believe that 3 years have somehow already gone by, but I'm pretty sure you experienced the same thing during the pandemic. It's a little bit of a blur. I received a bachelor's in organizational leadership from Millikan University. I was an economic development finance professional from the National Development Council. Went to the Economic Development Institute, University of Oklahoma. Actually, all of my staff is going through that program as well, so they can all become certified economic developers from IEDC, and finished up with the master's in business analytics from the University of Notre Dame. Go Irish. And if anyone hasn't seen it yet, they did a really cool, Notre Dame did a really cool jersey reveal the other day where they actually mimicked the movie The Hangover, and it's on YouTube right now. It was very creative on how they showed what the actual jersey is going to look like. So every time we do one of these BN by the numbers, I like to have a theme. Today's theme is all about balance. I know there's a lot of talk about inflation, and I thought about adding that to the presentation, but I didn't want to put you guys to sleep. I just wanted you guys to know that there is a national inflation, there is a state one, there's a regional one. We can actually calculate it here at the local level. I can say with the balance that things are really never as good as they seem, but also never really as bad as they seem. So I know that if you're looking at some of those, especially when it comes to real wages, I know we talk about unemployment, I know we talk about inflation. If you look at wages adjusted for inflation, the real wages, that's really where our area is really strong here in Central Illinois. We were ranked #1 place to be post-pandemic for a reason. That's because we have been recession-proof for the most part in a lot of our industries. Biggest challenge now, like we talked about last quarter, is just the speed at which we are growing. It's outpacing everything that any of us ever planned for. Any planner that you talk to, any banker, realtor, you all know the same thing. It's hard to play catch up right now, especially if you're in the development game, especially with the houses. And we'll get into that in a little bit. So following the same format that we always do, we'll go over our impact, talk about how we react to it, and then how we're going to adapt moving forward for next quarter, and hopefully report that progress at the next BN by the numbers. So the impact itself is it's not something you find, it's actually something you create. We actually really have to focus on balancing, especially with a strategic plan. We don't want to spend too much time doing one thing or another. So we want to make sure that we're diversifying our portfolio, so to say. So first, we're going to look at our employment trends, and we always look at 2 separate data sets for this. A lot of times the press will focus on the first one, which is our local area unemployment statistics. In economic development, we really love the second one, which is the current employment statistics, and we'll get into the difference between those. How we doing? Now I gotta watch what I say. Just kidding. So when we're talking about the MSA, a lot of times Bloomington MSA actually includes McLean County and DeWitt County. So that's just based off of the Census Bureau. All this data is for the 2 counties. We can break it down smaller, but it's not the same data or as current. We get some better data, but it's lagging quite a bit. When we look at these numbers, you'll look at the dark green area. That's the number of people that actually drive into work every single day. The number that is the circle itself that's going around, those are the people that live and work in our community. And then the number going out, that 28,000, those are people that might live here, but could teach at the University of Illinois or possibly work in Peoria. I imagine when this does get updated, there's going to be quite a bit of a shift, because we know right now the amount of people that are working in Rivian are driving as far as Kankakee. So we really expect that number to bump up. There is a really cool data set out there that's called Placer AI, that if you guys haven't played around with it yet, you can actually circle a building and then trace people for the day or for an event. So if there's an event in downtown Bloomington, a concert, you can say, I want to know what everybody did before and after that concert within 24 hours. It's funny to watch them move around, and everybody goes to Chick-fil-A if they're from out of town. So they'll hit our concert, go to Chick-fil-A. But it was really beneficial for us, because whenever we have site selectors come into the community and all these big prospects, they're asking the same thing, where's my workforce? And we can say, well, they'll come from this far, but now we can actually trace a company and say, look how far they're driving from. So we can show them that it's not necessarily a 60-mile labor shed now, it's getting up to a 90-mile labor shed. Our 60-mile labor shed is about 1 million people. So that's because we cannot support who we have right now with our own population. We really rely on that type of data to show all the people that come in every single day. So the first one, the local area unemployment statistics, that focuses on the people that live here, regardless of where they work. They can work in Bloomington-Normal, State Farm, or like I said, over at the U of I. This is our workforce. With that, we always start with the unemployed. The unemployed is down, especially compared to last year. That's going to be the one that's in the orange. You always want to see unemployment down unless you are a prospective business or you're looking to hire. That just shows that your workforce and available workers are dwindling. For us, it's good because basically if you want to work, you can work. You want me to take that? Just kidding. I'm in an honorary mood today. It's Friday. We normally do these on Thursdays, but we went ahead and decided, at Stephanie's suggestion, to shift these because the actual monthly data was coming out the same day we were doing this presentation. So I couldn't get you the monthly data. So if you push it back, now we got June's data, which is awesome because it looks better than May's data. So when it comes to employment is up. It's up quite a bit from last year, 6,000 more workers. The crazy thing about all these, I'm going to say this every single time until they update it. You can break this down by industry. They still have not caught up when it comes to manufacturing. If you break it down into manufacturing, it still says 3,500 people in manufacturing. And there's no way, because we know that Rivian itself has 6,000 employees. And then there's more coming for Brandt, there's more coming for Bridgestone, and then also with Ferrero adding another 250. So there's way more than 3,500. So I'm not sure where that's at in this. Eventually it should catch up, even though it's been years. Combine those two together and you get your actual labor force. So our labor force is up. And then to get the ratio, which is unemployment rate, which everybody focuses on, we always lead the state. We still lead the state. We're the blue at the bottom. You want to have the low unemployment rate because that's what says that, you know, anyone that does want to work, they can find work around here. The one that we really like to look at is the current employment statistics. You can get these both at the same place, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, but this is the amount of people that actually work in Bloomington-Normal, regardless of where they live. So this is everybody commuting in, plus our own people that are here. So these numbers are up as well. So again, things are heading in the right direction. They're past where they're at, slightly down for the summer. This is one that it actually freaked me out. I think on my third or fourth being by the numbers, that everything was heading south. And I was like, why? This doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not from the area. And I started looking at Champaign's too, and Champaign's was going down as well. And then I finally realized it was all the college students that had left. So then we switched it over to our seasonally adjusted. And when you adapt for the season of summer, you can see we're actually up compared to where we're supposed to be. So things are heading in the right direction again. And then our retail sales. This I still don't understand, honestly, because if you can see, blue is 2020, orange is 2021, the gray, which is harder to see, is 2022. Retail sales are going gangbusters. You're talking about being around 300,000 in 2020 when it comes to local taxes for the entire county, now all the way past 600,000 for last month. So we're definitely spending more. That might have something to do with disposable income and the new wages. I'm sure some of you can see that if you're trying to get into some of our restaurants recently. It is harder to get into, but we like to make some decent money, but we also like to dine out, I guess, because our disposable income is definitely passing everybody else's. Investment wise, this is the things that are just being invested in the community itself. My picture is on the way. Go there. So the sum of last year, when it comes to overall building permits for the entire county, we had 286. We're already at 151, being halfway there, which is a plus. The money wise is still amazing. So overall sum for this year, it's already surpassed last year. So we're at $286.2 million. I'm still shocked just at the amount of investments going on here, not just with Rivian. There's been recent expansions up at Bridgestone, but also the recent announcement over at Ferrero. It's just great to see people putting money back in the community. And then reaction wise, so we did make a plan. We're working the plan. The plan itself is up at the end of this month. So we're going to be working on a new economic development strategic plan, but I wanted to give you guys an update on where we're at. The plan itself, addresses the flywheel. So we really focus on 3 different goals. One is making sure we're developing our resources. 2 is developing our local businesses. And if that all happens, then you're going to develop investments, which all leads to the last bubble at the top, which is project management. With the theory that if we have more people investing in projects, there's more dollars going back to the community, which can in turn be invested again into infrastructure, blight elimination, neighborhood beautification, everything all around. If we wanted to, we could probably have an actually economic development 101 course on what all these things mean and what we could do compared to other communities. But you'll notice whenever we're going through the strategic plan at the bottom, it'll target one of these items. To stay the course, our EDC board structure actually has 3 separate committees. And so everything that's in the strategic plan is divvied up by these committees, and they focus on different things. Our real estate development committee has probably been the most active as far as kicking out new concepts. And we'll go over one of those today. But also they're in charge of our the housing study that recently came out, but also One Voice, which is a big trip for us out to DC. So the plan itself, we've got 15 items that are public. We actually have 20 behind the scenes for the board, which is more personnel type issues. Most of the things that are on the plan really focus on developing investments. That's what EDCs are known for. If you guys see the groundbreakings, that's always at the end. The thing is, if you don't have the resources in the beginning, the rest of it doesn't matter. We also take care of the businesses in the middle. Those get broken down again by how many are in project management compared to developments and so on. So implementation wise, projects last year, we were really excited because we had over 100 projects. Throughout my career, we average about 20 to 40. Projects can be RFPs, RFIs. It can come from the state level down. Sometimes it's just a business contacting us directly and saying, hey, we want to be in your community for great things. That counts as a project, starts off as a lead, works its way through. A lot of these that you're going to see on here are in manufacturing. People they realize that we're good at making things again, which is what we want because we want to diversify our industry. We've been known as being an insurance, finance town, universities, healthcare, which is wonderful. That is the bulk of all of our work. We really want to not switch over, but we want to encourage more development in the manufacturing side because the developers are in the manufacturing side, you have suppliers and buyers. So it's got a bigger ripple effect than say some of our other industries that are here. All the fun names on the left side, Nick comes up with those. So if they're cheesy, you can blame him. But if you look too close, you might figure out who some of these are. So I'm going to keep flipping through these so you can't figure it out. There's also a lot of warehouse and distribution on the way, some prospects in that, some cold storage contacts we've had partnering with our airports. But this is just the second quarter. And so combined with the first quarter, we're already at 59 projects. So we're set to outpace last year as well. I really think it has to do with a lot of the PR that we're receiving. Then also some of the efforts you'll see later on in our attraction campaign. And also since the last time, everybody knows this now, but it has been a quarter since we've done this. Ferrero did come out and announce their phase 3, $214 million investment to add the Kinder Bueno line, which is going to be amazing. My house is right behind there, so hopefully it smells awesome. For us, it's really cool now that I can go to shows and we always hand out beer nuts because they're made here locally, but now we're handing out more and more chocolate. So it's really easy to get in front of people to hand out chocolate and beer nuts. So it helps us out a ton. But one thing I do want to point out, this project had been waiting on that standardized incentive. So the standardized incentive that we put through, they had said they didn't want a special deal. They wanted to make sure that, they had the same coupon that everybody else did. So it was not even 3 days after District 87 approved theirs that they're like, all right, we're good to launch. They were ready to make the announcement a while ago. And they said, where are we at with the incentives? And I said, we're still trying to work through the process. We got the incentives all approved all the way through. So now they automatically qualify for this much investment and that many jobs. And the timing was perfect. It was literally the week before they came in, made the announcement. I was a little stressed out because you don't know if everyone's going to approve it, even though we had the nod. But since it got done, this is a great investment in our area. And actually, another big kudos to the city of Bloomington. It's interesting. It's actually a common theme, regardless of what community that I'm in. You hear about some challenges when it comes to development, but then you work with an international or even a regional company. They praise the city of Bloomington on how wonderful it was to do business here. And the reason that they went to phase 3 is because how successful phase 1 was. And phase 2. So phase 2 was actually the building you see behind there. That's a $75 million chocolate production facility. Because that went so well, they're like, you know what, we're going to go ahead and do the Kinder Bueno, bring that here as well. They make those Kinder eggs. I don't know if you guys, my kids love them. I'm not really down with it. I like some of the other projects better. But this is a great project, good testimonial to our local city. Also a lot of state help with this, which is why you see the governor there and our friends at DCO who are also with us today. The next one is BN Grows. This is our business retention expansion plan. Casey is here. If you guys have not met with Casey, please talk to him. There's a lot of workforce needs that we're aware of, but he wants to make sure that you're aware of the same type of tools that some of the larger companies have access to. The state's still coming up with new tools, which is wonderful. A lot of times we don't use all the resources that we have. And so it's disappointing to us whenever there are allocations for funds for different training incentives locally, and we see somebody leave or struggle when we know that if you had access to those funds, you could hire the right people. So we need to get you connected with Casey and some other people at the state so we can address some of these issues. And also, we just want to thank you for doing business here. That's like one of the first steps, then figure out how we can help you grow from within. Developer retention and attraction, that is Nick's full-time gig, and he's really out there tracking all the sites in town. If we do not have every site in our system or every building in our system, whenever a project comes in, one of those RFIs or RFPs, then it's not in the game. So we need to make sure that we're continuing to build those relationships, which Nick's been great at. We actually sent him to one of the attraction conferences because we had so many going on. I think the same thing is going to happen in December, where there's just a conflict because we need to get out and sell. So we're splitting up some of those duties as well. And then business attraction. So this last quarter has been a little bit hectic as far as moving around, not just the state, but also the nation, telling our story. So this was an example where we were invited to the German American Chamber of Commerce up in Chicago. They had a delegation of about 60 German businesses in the area, and they asked us if we can come up and talk about the impact and story of Rivian and what that means. While we were there, made great contacts, and they invited us over to Hamburg. And I said, well, that's probably outside of my pocketbook, but we'll be more than happy to join you at the upcoming IMTS. So I think that's International Manufacturing and Technology Show in Chicago. If any of you remember the World Fair back in the day, where it's all the latest and greatest technology, that's the new version of that happens in McCormick Place. So we're going to be up there for probably not the entire week, but to join them again. We got invited to their hospitality tent, meet with more businesses, and just talk about how great we are at making things again. We really want to expand on that story. And then also, while we were there, we realized how many other foreign chambers of commerce are in Chicago. So why not meet with all of them, tell them all the same type story, and really focus on foreign direct investment. The next one is one from Intersect, Illinois. That is our state marketing agency. So they're really out there trying to sell Illinois to the rest of the world. They hosted a familiarization tour. So this was a FAM tour, a regional one. You're going to see representatives from Peoria, Champaign, Decatur, Springfield. We get together on a regular basis, but Intersect actually hosted them down in our area. We started in Peoria. That bus or vehicle that's on the upper right, that is at a place that's called Autonomous Stuff over in Morton. I'm not going to lie, it was a little terrifying to sit in a van and see them all release the wheel, and we just took off. Then a car pulled out in front of us, and the vehicle knew when to stop. So it's very innovative, which is cool for us because the site selectors that were here, it was like almost out of sight, out of mind, because everyone that's like north of I-80 doesn't realize what's going on down here, but they're really impressed about our innovation, how sustainably minded that we were, and then our food, which was funny to us because we've got great food here. We actually, the state rented out bakery and pickle. So we had the place all to ourselves. We wined them, we dined them, took them to Blow No Pizza, took them to a Peoria Chiefs game, and just showed them that there's a lot more going on here than we think. So they left with great reviews, and not even 2 weeks later, we actually got one of the RFPs from one of those site selectors that didn't realize what we have in the community. Also, a big shout out to all of our sponsors. Mike was there at Corn Belt, helped us out over at Blow No Pizza, Hammered as well. But it was a really great event, and then also Norfolk Southern. And then this one was a fun one. First time I've ever done this. This is Select USA. I had a haircut at the time, so it's me right in the middle. But we had the Team Illinois booth. And for me, I've been doing economic development for a while. And this is the first time I've actually seen all the agencies for the state of Illinois come together and become Team Illinois. And this was really amazing for us to be a part of. All of our regional partners were there across the state, local economic development organizations. And Select USA is it's a pretty long conference out in DC where a bunch of foreign direct investment companies come in. So it's from every nation that you can think of. We were in the back, and luckily for us, it was right next to the bars and the food, so they had to come to us. The biggest takeaway for me, and a little frustrating for my regional partners that we're in a competition with, was they would come to the booth. We're like, so what do you know about Illinois? Well, we know Chicago, we know Michael Jordan, and we know Rivian. And so everyone that came to the booth wanted to talk to the Rivian guy. And so all my partners at Peoria were like, oh, they want to talk to Patrick again. So it works for me. I got a stack of cards. And I'm not kidding. The next week, the delegation was still in town, and we ended up partnering with Ray Lai because they were from China, over from regional planning. I was at something else, so Nick hosted them. So they followed up immediately since they were still in the States, came down to another local familiarization tour. But that's the beauty of doing this and being able to tell our story of what's going on here. And I was really impressed. The state did a wonderful job, even though there was a big Cubs logo there because I'm a Cardinals fan, but I sacrificed for the day. But very successful event. I'm glad we did that. And like I said, we've got a lot of new partnerships and really focusing on that foreign direct investment, which we're going to need when it comes to some of the suppliers and a lot of people that are looking to locate here for a lower cost of energy and lower cost of land here in Central Illinois. And then this one, I can't emphasize this enough. If you guys have been coming to these, this is here every single time, and the whole approve versus on deck, there's always somebody moving up. So we have finally, with all of our partners, McLean County, City of Bloomington, Town of Normal, Ford County, Gibson City, DCO, District 87, Unit 5, and CERA have all agreed that this is going to be our standardized incentive. Thank you all for that. This has been, I think Mike said, 8 years in the making, and to get this done, it's literally landing deals right now. Like, it's so much easier for me to say, you get 5 years property tax abatement, we can approve it in 2 weeks, and it goes through my board, and that's it. You're like, okay, we can talk. And so there's that RFP list you're going to see more project announcements because how fast and streamlined that is. Next month, hopefully, we're going to be at Benward. I talked to them as well. The more the merrier, in my mind. The more people that participate, it just shows that we're all in this together and that we really appreciate investment in our community. One Voice, hard to believe that, Stephanie's already booking hotels. So we need projects for next year. This whole process starts really early. We've already met with our lobbyist, looking through some of the funds on where some of the allocation is going to go. We love sewer work, because that's really expensive stuff. It is out of sight, out of mind, but they're putting a lot of money into that. So we want to make sure we're tapping into it. But if anyone has any ideas for projects that we need infrastructure, I know that rural broadband has been a popular topic. But we want to make sure that we're bringing our dollars back, especially the way that they're allocating funds these days. So I believe the dates we've already got lined up for February 28th, March 1st and 2nd. Does that sound right, Stephanie? Okay. Yeah, those are the dates. We take a team of 30 local leaders. We accept applications for that as well. It's really it's a great event. It's something at first I didn't realize, how successful it was of being out there, not just meeting with our elected officials and representatives, but meeting with the staff members, because if you know the staff member at EDA, you can call them up and just find out what programs you guys have coming soon. Like, here's what our needs are, and they can actually ask us and design programs around what we've got going on. So it's been a great partnership. I'm looking forward to doing that one again next year in person. Doing it virtually, that was not a lot of fun. BN STEM is still going on. This is still a major emphasis for us, especially with the STEM technology. You can find all that on bnstem.org, and at some point, it'd probably be a good idea to have Rebecca come in and talk about all their successes. They have started doing some videos, but it's great to hear about kids that started off in some of these programs, especially with the State Farm STEM program. Like, it was just a local internship at Harlan Community College, and now they made it all the way through from the high school level, and they're working at State Farm. And we're starting to, this was started a while ago. And so now we've got these testimonials coming out that this does make an impact. The big thing about this is just knowing what you don't know. If you're at a young age, you just think State Farm is this big glass box down the road, and Jake from State Farm. You don't realize all the data analytics or the marketing or everything else that goes behind the scenes. And now having cool products like Rivian, you can actually go manufacture that thing that's driving around your neighborhood. So getting the kids introduced early on that you don't have to go to Chicago or Dallas or somewhere else to get a really cool job and make cool things. They're all right here. So it's been a wonderful partnership. Workforce attraction wise, if you guys haven't got a copy of the housing study, let us know. I did want to clarify some things based off of some of the comments we've seen on social media, which I know I'm not supposed to read, but I still do every now and again. We're not just here for the higher quality multifamily housing stock. The whole goal of this study, we saw the building permits coming through, we saw the plans, we know what we're going to continue to build. We need that continuation to happen because those people are all started. We're just asking for diversity in our housing stock. I mean, we always joke that it's Bloomington Beige for a reason, and that's wonderful for me and my family. Like, we're at that stage where I've got my kids at home and everybody's happy, but we just need variety. We need more multifamily coming in. You've got to support that multifamily at all levels. And also that right there, third line, like, these are the priorities: invest in the existing housing stock. We want people to reinvest in our historic neighborhoods. The big focus for me, which it doesn't say on here, but it's the infill. It's like, we've got areas that we put a little TLC in, people are going to invest in that. So that's the focus, but it's really diversification strategies, not just high income condos. Yes, we need those because we have people with that disposable income. And if those exist, they will stop taking up the 5 bedrooms. I've heard multiple stories about people that are buying a 5-bedroom home because they can. They're coming from California, but if you had a nice condo, they take that instead. So it's creating an issue with our supply. So yeah, we need it across the board. It's not just one and done. BN Forward is a grant matching system. Honest to say, we launched this in the beginning because it was only Nick and I at one point in the office, and people kept calling me instead of talking to somebody else. So we put this system online that had a phone number you can call and get helps with your grants. Well, now we've got extra staff, so we're actually going to cancel this. We'll probably make our own 1-800 number so you can call us to get helped out applying for some of these grants. State programs are available, but we're just not going to move forward with BN Forward and using the consulting services anymore because we're staffed up now to 6 people. Economic gardening wise, we still do have funds allocated. If you know any local business that has the prospect of creating 25 jobs, they do qualify for economic gardening. So for us, this is a way that they might be really good at making donuts, but they're not very good at marketing, or they're not very good at financial strategy. We will hire a consultant and pay that consultant to help them grow from within. It's a really aggressive technique. We did it last year. We had one company go through the program. They got all the information they need. They're still in the process of looking for a location, but it gives them the strategy to move forward because we've got a lot of people, if they have the right type of help, they can grow from within, because not everybody has, strategy departments or can afford some of these larger companies and these consultants. So we want to help them partner and pay for that. And then we've got a rural development fellow. I'll embarrass her as well, Randall in the back. She is a Stevenson Center fellow. This is a program that actually Casey went through. So it's from our Stevenson Center for Community and Economic Development. It is a master's program. So she did her first year as a student in the program. Second year, she stuck with us, drinking from a fire hose right now. She sits in all the meetings. We always talk afterwards about, what you learned through that. But it's a great way to partner with Illinois State University because the school is in our own backyard teaching economic development. We want to get them hands-on experience, let them know, get them out of the book and the theory that might work all around the world and say, here's how we actually grind here locally. And then our virtual tours, we partnered with the airport on this with Research FDI. They're creating or sending us a lot of leads that are coming through for different prospects out in that area. Pretty cool opportunity down there that we're hopefully getting closer on as well. And then our community vision. I wish we were further along, but I want to have a bigger party to announce this than just me saying, hey, look at our logo. But we're all the way through this whole process. So we've got everything down when it comes to our guidelines, our taglines, our key messages. We've got the branding package, the launch guidance. We're actually partnering with the Chamber of Commerce right now to set up an event. So it will be a big unveiling of who we are going forward. But this has been a great process to get through. We're fine tuning the logo to make it one that it tells a story. A lot of times you see some of these campaigns, there'll be a logo and there's a widget, but you don't actually know what the heck the story is behind that thing. It's just a thing. Ours, we're really close on right now on actually having a full story behind exactly what that icon is going to mean for our community. And with that, we actually need, because we have 7 stories, we need 7 community champions. So we're looking for people to volunteer. We're going through the process again with the Chamber of Commerce to be those champions that if you walk into an event at Uptown in the Circle and you got a t-shirt on that says asking about the brand, they're going to be there telling that story. We want 7 people, one that represents each one of the different stories, one of the benefits of the community. And hopefully when it comes time for the actual brand launch party, they will be the champions for it and going forward. And then we're going to train everybody else as well on how they can get involved and tell our story. And we're really focusing right now when it comes to who we're looking at the target for this. If you think about the people that live in Rantoul or some of the smaller communities, we're not Chicago, but we're the next step up. So that's number one, is getting those people to come here. Number 2, it's retaining our talent, keeping our kids here, keeping them happy. We've got a wonderful talent pool, talent pipeline over at Illinois State University in Wesleyan. Heartland Community College is our best bet for getting a lot of the students to stick around. It's just disappointing to us when we ask them, what would it take for you guys to stay here? Like, it'd be really cool if you guys had more than one brewery. Like, we love to still, but we need to get some more. And we're like, what? So we got to get in front of them. Or they even told us it'd be nice if we had a farmer's market. And I'm like, you guys got to leave the bubble. So how do we get in front of them? We need to have a campaign, common messaging, get on TikTok, which I'm not going to do, but hopefully we'll have someone that can figure that out. I'm not going to do those dances, but that's where they're at. So we need to tell our story to them, let them know what's in their own backyard, hopefully get them to stick around. Then honestly, I think there's really an opportunity, and this was one we were on the fence on earlier because we were going to go full go on the alumni networks, getting people like myself that were from the area to come back home, the boomerangs. because we know at different phases of life, you have different priorities. I've got a lot of fraternity brothers. If you've ever been to Brew Haas, that was one of my fraternity, Bob Brew, who owns that. But they all moved up to Chicagoland. They're all coming down for a fantasy football draft, pretty soon. So I'm pretty pumped to show them this is not the same town that we were in school in back in '97. Like Uptown did not exist. You guys all have kids now. Do you like that drive to work every single day? You're going spending an hour to go 20 miles. Like, come check this out. Come see where I live. Look at our 12 golf courses, which they still say I'm a liar. 12 golf courses in McLean County. That'll probably be the third target for us, but letting them know when we get our housing stock built up that there's a place for them to come. So that's why housing is so important right now. So if you know anybody that's a community champion, loves Bloomington-Normal, loves McLean County, got a great story to tell, and has the time and the energy. Like I know some really high energy people that are really influential, got to have the time too. So it's just knowing somebody, and it's going to be a great opportunity in our mind to partner with us, partner with the chamber, the community to help tell our story, because we've got an amazing story to tell. In the Smart Cities, Bloomington-Normal Innovation Alliance, this is one that Casey's been partnering on. It's really making sure that we've got the right infrastructure in place to handle all these smart vehicles that are coming in. We were ahead of our time. Kudos Normal for a lot of this by installing all of those charging stations in Uptown was a major part of why Rivian chose this community. Seeing all the wind farms is another reason that people choose this community, because that is smart city technology. So they want to see us being innovative. So we want to continue that and make sure that we're all collaborating together. And this is really between the city of Bloomington, town of Normal, McLean County, also our universities. We're playing a small role in the background right now. I think there's a lot of potential though with this collaboration. And then last but not least is entrepreneurship. We're missing the boat. Unfortunately, there was a lot of companies at Select USA, foreign direct companies, that were asking me for, does Illinois have a soft landing spot? And I'd honestly never heard that term before. They needed a place that they could open up an office for one salesperson to go talk to investors, talk about their product, and see if it was the right market. No one in Chicago knew, no one in the state knew. We don't even have a place right now. If you came to me and said, I've got this idea for a widget, who can coach me making this widget and taking it to market? I can send you to Wesleyan. They can give you an amazing business plan, but there's no space for you to go after that. So at some point, we need to build out something similar to what the University of Illinois has at the research park. I think Peoria is a little bit further along than we are because they've got some really good concepts. I'll like blank on the name, something labs. Distillery Labs. We stole Casey from Peoria, so he knows all about Peoria. But Distillery Labs. So having something more along those lines, I think with all the trailing spouses and brain trust we have with the students here, we've got a great opportunity to expand on entrepreneurship. And then adapt what we're going to do moving forward. One, continue to tell our story. Like we just keep making more and more rankings. So this one came out not too long ago, made the top 10 list for most livable college towns in America. The other day we came out for 15 best small cities. Normal made that list. One just came out yesterday for Bloomington. I think it was like in the entire country. And then the accolades wise, this one, I had the opportunity to go up, Casey applied for Real Estate Journal. This is for Illinois, mostly Chicagoland. There's over 600 people in this room, and Rivian and our community won for the best industrial project. And to be there with a lot of my former colleagues in the Tinley Park area and beat out all of Cook County and Will County's big industrial projects for this and to bring this home was amazing. And I have to say that this kudos, because I've been a part of this. I've been on the other end where you work on a project for 8 years and then you go away and go back and you look and like, oh, there's that building that we worked on for so long. Like this was not me, we just applied for this. This is really the town of Normal, McLean County, Michael Grady, Kyle Ham, everyone that was involved in the beginning with the state of Illinois to pull this off. And if you think about what Rivian was supposed to be, taking up a third of that building, 500 employees to where they're at now, I mean, it's absolutely insane. So that's now that it was done and now that they're actually producing a product, we can go up there and apply for this, and we nailed it. And I said, we're going to be back next year because now we're making chocolate. We'll be back next year after that. And there's also an award that is for the best community. I think after we win a couple more, we're going to go take the best community in Illinois as well. Fun fact about that though, Case and I were up there. Out of all these tables, 600 and some people, we sit down next to this construction or contractor group, and they look at our name tags like, oh, Bloomington-Normal. And they say, do you know about so-and-so? And I was like, how do you know that name? It's one of our top prospects. Nobody knows this name. State of Illinois knows it, and that's it. And he's like, oh, we're the ones that are doing the contracting for it. We're heading down there next week. You guys are still in the running. I'm like, good to know. I'm like, out of this whole group, how did I end up with you guys? But it was, we were laughing about it, but I was really freaked out because confidentiality is key in this industry. And to hear these, I'm like, everyone in Chicago talk. That's the other beauty of being up there, just learning about what everyone else is doing and hearing the rumors about what we could be getting. But no, this was their contractor doing the bids. It's been a long project, but it's been one that's hurry up and wait. They want to know from us, like, what abatements available, what taxes you have, where's the state at with this. Everybody on our end did our thing, and we're just waiting. Like, is this coming or not? And these guys are like, oh yeah, your guys are still there. Hopefully hear something pretty soon. So it's an added bonus to us. And also a fun thing, the guys that were running the slideshow, they goofed up the order of the slides. So the first slide, it said Rivian winner. So I immediately put my wine to the side and started writing a speech. That's enough of that. We're actually going to win this thing. And I don't know, that was more nerve-wracking knowing that I had to go on stage and say it. But it was a lot of fun just getting up there and just letting people know what was going on. We were one of the only ones that were south of I-80. But I just keep using the fun phrase that, we make chocolate, beer nuts, and electric trucks. We make all the cool stuff down here. So that really resonates. And any of you that are housing developers, there's a lot of them that come down. Like, we need residential like crazy. So that was a lot of fun. Another thing that we're going to be working on pretty soon is a developer summit, not just for our local developers, but also for all those developers I was just talking about up north. We want to get together with the county, with the town, with the city, local finance professionals, and really talk about the benefits of TIF districts, the benefits of your enterprise zone, how do you get through some of these, really what we want, and what are the best practices, with the overall idea of having a guide and breakout sessions, one-day summit, really the brainchild of Neil, partnering with the Chamber of Commerce as well to host this. We'll line up speakers. I think it'll be a great way to probably just let everybody know what's going on in our own backyard. And we got a lot of good feedback from the housing study and speaking with the Realtors Association. So why not just keep moving that ball forward? So stay tuned for that one. Still need the workforce development strategic plan. This has been an ongoing effort. We know where we're at now. We just need to figure out where we want to be when we grow up. Like I mentioned earlier, our economic development strategic plan was a 1.5-year plan. It's expiring in August. All the stuff that we went over, the standardized incentive, that's checked off the list. So everything else at the bottom starting to move up. We'll revise that, looking for approval in December with a budget to match it, and we'll launch it in 2023. So if there's any best practices or ideas that you see other communities doing in economic development, get a hold of me, let me know, or talk to our board, because we'll be rearranging everything for the years to come. And then the brand launch. This one's going to be a fun one. This is not our logo at all. It's just something I want you to know. There's going to be a party coming, celebrating with the Chamber of Commerce launching this thing. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I think we're really tracking. We've got some pretty cool messages going on. We gotta get our champions first, because it can't just be me and Charlie yelling at the top of our lungs. We need more people around the room screaming the same thing. So stay tuned for that as well. How you guys can help. One, Randall was hired to help out rural economic development. So if you know anyone in the rural communities where they've got vacant space, any of the mayors that need help with infrastructure, the businesses themselves, we want to take the same best practices that we've been doing in Bloomington-Normal and expand to the rural communities. So anyone that needs help with that, Casey, I, Nick, depending on what it is, will accompany Randall out there and we'll expand our services. If you do have available property to promote, get a hold of Nick. His email's right there. If you want to complain about some of those funny names he comes up with, you can do that too. He's got a good sense of humor. Casey, if you, like I said earlier, if you haven't had a BRE visit, get a hold of him. We want to make sure you guys have the same tools that all the larger corporations have in town. If you want to talk about workforce, Stephanie's going to be taking charge of that one itself. And if anyone wants to get involved with our EDC, please get a hold of me. I know some of you guys have hit me up for happy hour. I'm down with that as well. I don't just do coffee. If you want to get beverages or pickleball, we were talking about that earlier. Let me know. Softball's almost over. So more than happy to talk shop. I love this industry. I landed luckily in this community at the right time. It's been great. It's been a great 3 years. I'm looking forward to this for a lot longer. I think we can do a lot more investment. It's been fantastic. And also, if you haven't yet, check out our podcast. If you want to be on the podcast, let me know. It's a great opportunity just to hear about how some of these projects happen behind the scenes and learn about our local companies and what's to come. And with that, I will open it up for questions.
Whatever happened, you're looking for projects, not infrastructure money that's out there. Whatever happened to the large project north to south, the 74 to 55 or the corridor in the whole. I think they were after.
Oh, the Beltway?
The tire grant.
Was it like? Oh, the roads.
When you're talking about.
Yes, I can't announce that, but that's going forward. So I'll let somebody else. I love my job. That's the hardest part, is like knowing what I can and can't say. Yeah, I'll let somebody else talk about that one at some point, but yeah, it's headed in the right direction. Yes. Are we talking about like the high-speed rail? Yes, so that was one, I don't know about Peoria. It's been an ongoing conversation. And luckily for us, in the meantime, we want to get that done because it is very important. Our partners over at Connect Transit, hopefully, you'll be moving forward pretty soon with some of their shuttle services to bring back something similar to what State Farm had back in the day, that you can get picked up in these surrounding communities and come here to bring them in the meantime. But I think rail is a fantastic opportunity. We do have a great relationship with Norfolk Southern now. So partnering with them on how some of that can move forward, along with getting possible light industrial parking area as well. I like trains, so yeah, I want to see more of that. I just know it's really, really expensive, but with some of the dollars coming out, that's probably going to take a major effort by the governor, but then also by the feds as well to invest in infrastructure. But I think it's something that'll help us for years to come as we're trying to be greener and cleaner. I mean, rail's a good way to go. Anything else? If I can't answer it, I'll say it's confidential. So, or you can hit me up afterwards for a beverage. It is Friday. Yes.
If you have any thought about including why people would want to move here, the richness that we have as far as the arts, whether they be visual arts, theater, music, over the 50 years that we've been here in town, we've seen all really kind of come and go, and it's rising very high right now. Also, the upper restaurant scene is rising very high. Art scene downtown is rising very high. We sat with some people the other night at Shakespeare to ISU. They come down every year from Chicago. And they keep saying they can't believe this is the town that they remember 70s. And I didn't see any of this.
So that's all part of the branding campaign, actually one of the 7 messages. And I thought about today putting the 7 messages out there, but it would really ruin the unveiling. But no, the arts and the culture, that's one of the 7 reasons that you should be here. No, it's not part of our strategic plan. It's underneath the branding initiative that's coming out. So that will be one of the pillars. There's 7 things that makes us so awesome, and that is one of them. We want to have videos, testimonials, again, TikTok, which I'm not going to do, but somebody pushing that out there and letting people know that that is part of our culture. But no, that's coming. And like I said, I almost put it on here, but I would have killed the surprise. So we'll wait and get a champion for that to come out and tell that story. Yeah, that's definitely part of it. Anybody else out there? Yes.
I've heard you talk for a while about the need for more housing. It seems like maybe the market isn't reacting as quickly and wrong. And what are the impediments to why the builders are not responding?
There's a couple. Supply chain is definitely one of them. It's getting supplies here, but it's also a workforce. We've got some major construction projects going on right now. So if we're here and there's like 2,000 people building out Rivian, I don't know how many people are actually building out Ferrero, but a lot of people that are in the trades are out there. So yeah, you have to have labor to build the houses. You have to get through the approval process, but a lot of it is supply. And the other side of it is not just the supply to build the individual homes, but it's also to supply to get the infrastructure in the ground. So I want to say like not even a year ago, when they talked about timelines, could have been 6 months to get like a transformer or to get some of the infrastructure in the ground for water and sewer. That keeps pushing out. So it's a supply on both sides. It's like the perfect storm, especially for us because we grew as fast as we did. But that's one of the biggest challenges. Like for us, it's also convincing people that these newer products will work here. That's why we've been talking to a lot of people out of Chicagoland, because they do that project up there. And one thing I didn't mention, whenever we did post housing study, we immediately had people on LinkedIn and some other places like, hey, I can do exactly what you want. I'm like, awesome, I'll buy you a hotel room, come down here, we'll get you drunk and get you to invest. So yeah, they can do it because they can do it somewhere else. And we just have to prove that we have the disposable income. And so having that relationship, especially with Neil, I know he's been whining and dining a lot as well. Letting Rivian tell that story about what people are making now and what they can afford, you're going to see some changing in our housing product. But a lot of it was the salesmanship, but the supply chain, which is all over the nation. So everybody understands it. I think that's it. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Looking forward to the next one. Follow up. Got any ideas for us? Thanks so much.
Not like.